Hi guys, Andy here with my Moto 360. It's only been 4 days since I got it and unboxed it, as we see behind me there. But I feel like I already know all that I need to know about this, because I already know the operating system, and this video won't be about the operating system. I do have other videos about that if that's what you want to know about. This video is purely about the Moto 360 hardware. The only reason I perhaps shouldn't do it this early is because I've not had a chance to cycle the battery a good few times. I generally don't have to come in on the battery until at least a week, preferably 10 days. But I feel I've got some pretty good info on the battery already, and I'm happy enough for me to give you my thoughts on the 360. So let's go ahead and do that now. I think the reason there was quite a lot of buzz about the 360, mainly because of the round watch face. So the first two available, and even I suppose before the Android Wear devices, they're generally quite square and blocky. You look at the Pebble, for me, totally ugly watch, really would not want on my wrist. I have the Gear Live, as you might be aware. I like the design, because I got that because of the design. The LG G Watch, again, to me looked too blocky. But the Moto 360, I don't think really anyone would argue that it's not a beautiful looking watch. It is a little bit thick, I think it's around 13mm, but it doesn't feel that much thicker than the others. I'm not entirely sure why. I suppose when it's on your wrist it doesn't particularly matter. I would say it is quite light, mainly because it is made of plastic. I was quite surprised to read that the glass is Corning Gorilla Glass, because it feels quite plasticky to me. Anyway, to the design. This obviously is a black version with the black strap. You can get a silver version with, I think, 2 different types of strap. The straps are interchangeable, I'm told. I wouldn't particularly try myself necessarily. But I'm told you can get in there and you can put different straps on. It is a nice leather, comfortable strap. It feels very comfortable on my wrist, more so than the Gear Live, definitely. It does seem and feel, to me, a little cheap though. Perhaps just because it's all made of plastic and that it is quite light. And also, I'm not a massive fan that it doesn't sit flush. Don't know how well you can see that on the video. So obviously there's kind of an edge to the plastic, which I suppose is fair enough. But then there's also like an edge that goes all the way around the glass cover, which actually means when you're looking at it, you get that funny refraction, I don't know what the word is. Obviously the change in the angles of the light and the very edge of the image makes it a little weird to me. I'd much prefer it to have been flush. I don't know if that was possible or not. Maybe it would have made it even thicker if they did that, I don't know. But there we go. The actual processor is a TI OMAP 3. Now I don't know a huge amount about the processors, but a lot of people were quite upset by this. It's a 2 or 3 year old tech from my understanding. I don't know why they would use a 2 or 3 year old processor. I wouldn't imagine it would be more battery efficient. Maybe it's just a costing thing, I don't know. There is 512 meg of RAM and 4 gig of storage built in, so I believe Android Wear will soon allow standalone music players, so you'll be able to put up to 4 gig of music on your watch and stream it via Bluetooth to Bluetooth earbuds or headphones. It does of course have Bluetooth 4, so it will work with any Android device 4.3 and afterwards. The 1.5 inch LCD screen is 320 by 290. Slightly odd, I suppose, dimensions, but that's because of the flat tire effect at the bottom. You see that black bar just there? That some people call the flat tire effect. Now, this is done apparently because something has to house the display drivers. I guess on a phone there's always, you know, top and bottom there is some space that it's going to be, but obviously what they're trying to do here is have just purely the whole face as a display, and that's just not possible apparently. So is this, or you have that bezel all the way around, so they figured this was the better option. I actually thought it would really put me off, but no, I don't want you, I want to change. Just changed up the watch face there. I think when they design with that bar in mind, I think it looks a bit better, so they've done as you can see, the dashes around the flat tire. I personally prefer that to the kind of image vanishing into it. It looks a bit odd. Others just use that area, so black area, as part of the design, so you don't even know the flat tire's there. I like the heart rate monitor's actually pretty good. It still wasn't ideal or wasn't perfect for when I was at the gym using the exercise bike. It still struggled as I was jiggling from side to side to read my heart rate. But soon after, well, as soon as I stopped, I tried again, and it worked. It worked well. Possibly because I hadn't had a chance to sweat much. I was sat right underneath a blooming air conditioner vent, and I just didn't sweat. So I think the sweat's the thing that caused the problem. As I found out later on, I tried again, as I was sweating more, and it did struggle. Although I then tried when I got to the changing rooms, and I was able to stay very still and try again, and it worked again. So I think it actually does a little bit better than Samsung in that respect. I also quite like that it continues to monitor. It doesn't just make a reading and give you the heart rate. It then continues to monitor, so you can watch your heart rate either go down or go up, basically, from there. Back to the phone. The battery, we believe, is a 320 milliamp hour battery, which is quite small, but then it's only around, that's slightly bigger than the Gear Live, which was, I think, was it 300 or 310? And there were a lot of concerns. Some people saying, oh, you've got to charge the device 2 or 3 times a day. Well, I've not. I've been using it even on the first cycles, which generally aren't so good. I've got through the day. When I got home from it yesterday, it was a shorter day. I was home by kind of 3:30. I wouldn't say I used the watch a lot, but I still had 60% battery left. That would have got me through the day if I'd needed it to. Right now, it's only been off charge for probably not even 3 hours. Let's just see where we are at the minute. 73, look, and that has had quite a lot of use. That's been me at the gym doing heart rate monitoring and all that kind of thing, and checking my emails. You would imagine now going back to normal use, so that's been 3 hours, it's used a quarter. So even a heavy use, it's going to get 12 hours, and now I'm back to kind of normal use. I would imagine that would stretch to 16 to 18. So I personally, I don't think, after the recent Android Wear update, that helped a lot apparently. The battery, I don't believe, is an issue. Although I think you get sacrifices for the battery. So that right now, the screen's lit up, that looks pretty good. But the dimmed screen, like that is actually a lot dimmer than the Samsung dimmed screen. In fact, I might even go so far as to say, I don't know, I get torn a bit by this screen. Sometimes I think it doesn't look so great. I don't think the resolution looks quite as crisp as the other devices, even though the resolution is pretty much the same. I don't know quite what it is. I've seen others comment that they see a watch face and like a still shot, and it looks amazing. They put it on the phone, they're not quite blown away. I'm not sure what it is. I mean, it is a good screen, I wouldn't say otherwise. But you do, I think the battery life is, if I put that face downwards for a little while there, so the screen actually goes fully off, which doesn't happen on the Gear Live. It's always slightly on and brighter than on this device. Now it's very sensitive, and even the smallest bit of movement brings it back as dim. So I wouldn't say I've really had a time when I've lifted my wrist and thought, I can't see the watch, wriggling about trying to get it to activate. But there is just that slight delay. So you go sideways, it's off, you lift it up to look. It is only minimal, it's not really anything to talk about. What I do quite like is the wireless charging. So it's a nicely made soft plastic. It's got a decent base, it doesn't go sliding about the place. It's got enough weight so it stays put. It's not plugged in at the minute, obviously, so it's not going to do anything. But this has actually sort of replaced my bedside clock at the moment on my bedside table. Just drop it in the end of the night, let it, off it goes charging. It's charged within about 3 hours, I think it's charged, if not less than that, in fact. You don't worry about it being, you can leave it on there all through the night, that's fine. It doesn't illuminate the room because it is quite well dimmed when all the lights are off. So to me that's a big plus, and that's one of the big reasons, along with I guess the design, which is making me think maybe I'll stick with this device over the Gear Live. Performance wise, there are just a couple of times I've seen a little bit of jitter. But nothing sort of that would make you think, oh, this is not, it's struggling. It's not in that respect. Okay, Google, will it rain tomorrow? As you can see, there's no problems there. I initially thought as well, I should point out now, that I thought it would be a bit weird having, your phone. You don't have a phone with a round watch face. Everything, text messages that come in, I thought they'd look quite weird with the corners cut off. And I can't help but think in some cases the design of the screen is almost as if it imagines the screen is still square and you're almost missing bits of information in the corners. I don't think you ever are missing bits of information, but does that make sense? It's kind of like if you put it just, I can't explain it more than that really, I suppose. It's not like it's putting an image that's going to fit inside, everything that's going to fit inside. It does stretch it so that, well, not stretch it, but it does have it so that it's big enough that it fills the whole screen, and effectively you are missing little bits from the corner. Not that you ever, I don't think there's text really that goes off, and if you have a text message, just make sure it fits all on the screen. Yeah, I'm not really explaining that bit very well, am I? Never mind. Maybe you understand what I mean. It's not a negative. I mean, I quite like it. It does make things seem a bit bigger than on the other devices. So we've talked about that. I did have a few problems initially with the clock freezing, but that may have just been just initial sort of boot ups and problems. It kind of literally stuck on a certain time, and I rebooted it. I don't think I've seen that problem again, so I don't think that's an issue. I mean, the other thing is that there's almost a cult following now of this watch, and if you get something like Facer here, you can see the amount of, I mean, this only is a very small selection of some of the watch faces I've downloaded, but there's some amazing looking watch faces. So the first one I had on that you would have seen was the Tag. I've now got the Executive Blue on, but there's some very simple looking ones. There's a nice Omega Moon watch look, there's a classy looking metal dark one, slightly funkier ones down here. And they're very easy to install. You download the .face file, you basically import it into Facer, and then you push it to the phone. So I select that one, and I say, yeah, let's have that. Boom. It says, have I got Facer selected as my watch face? I say yes, and it pushes it over. Sometimes it takes a little longer than you would imagine. Come on, syncing, please wait. In fact, every now and then I sort of push it again. So this one's taking longer than I would imagine. Let's try pushing it again. Yes. So I push it again, and actually it shows me the. There we go. So there. This just real quickly about the screen. So see the R and the R again, just slightly being clipped off. But it's not like you really miss anything you need to read. Anyway, just to show you as well the watch faces that come with it. You can actually see them on there's an app that they ask you to install. You can edit them slightly, so you get things like the minimal one. That's quite I think that's quite classy. Dials, so you can have different, again you set it in the app, so I've got New York and San Francisco as alternate times, and then obviously my time as the main clock. You can change the towns in the app. Rotate, kind of a funky looking watch. It's quite nice though, because I do like digital rather than hands, if I'm honest, but that's kind of a funky way of showing it. It's interesting how different some of them are when they're dim. That's very dim, still visible, whereas the Tag here, I don't know how you say it, that was quite bright. That's the dimmed screen. Oh, and then you can't, anyone that used to play GoldenEye as a kid on the N64, you have to have that one in your arsenal, surely. That is downloaded. These are downloaded ones now. But again, I like the ones that design around the flat tire, rather than try and pretend it's not there. Again, so I'm on to. So I think that's really all there is to see. I really like it. Definitely the design, the comfort. I'm quite surprised at the price point. So it's £200, whereas the Gear Live is £170, and I believe the LG G Watch is £160. Whereas the specs are lower on this, and it feels a bit light and I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh saying it feels light and plasticky, because really it's the screen that I think feels plasticky, and that's Gorilla Glass. So maybe I'm being a bit too harsh, but definitely fantastic design. Love the cradle, and the wireless charging makes it much easier to ensure you don't forget to charge it overnight. All round, I think, a very nice device. Let me know your thoughts and comments. I would just point out, did I say this? Anytime the screen is face up, it will never turn off. It's always just at least dimmed, look. So again, as I also mentioned earlier on, if you want to know more about Android Wear and how it works, watch my features video, because that's not what this review was about. But there you go, the Moto 360 from Motorola. I got mine for 199 from O2, but they are cropping up different places. John Lewis have sold a few, like I say, O2. You know, I'm sure you'll find them more and more around the place on the interwebs. Any questions? Drop them in the comments below. I'll do my best to answer them. My name's Andy. I'll catch you all again soon.